Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to MXGPTV.com. My name is Paul Malin, and thank you for joining us today on our live broadcast, as always, from the circuit. This weekend, it's round 8 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. We are at the Patron MXGP of Russia at the circuit of Orlyonok. Third time in a row we've been here now. Paul Jonas won the last two for KTM in the MX2 category. But the first time we came to a Russian Grand Prix was back in 1962, and that was Torsten Hallmann winning on a 250cc Husqvarna, of course, the former world champion and legend in these parts, just as much as he was anywhere else in the world. In fact, he won 3 times the Russian Grand Prix over his career, and there only ever have been 3 winners of a Russian Grand Prix. Joe Robert, the other rider from Belgium, he won in 64 and 65, and then in 72, all in the 250 category. Well, 29 degrees, the weather, as you can see if you've been joining us today for our broadcast live here from Russia, has been creeping up and up and up. Now, about a week ago, we lost one of our journalists, Adriano Dondi, and Dondi was an Italian media representative, used to work at Youthstream, and of course, he will be sadly missed. Evgeny Bobryshev takes us for the Gopro track preview here at his home round. It's about 95 meters uphill into turn 1, pretty much 180, falling away on the exit. Foxhole shot line just out there, but as you hit the finish line here, this is the start of sector 1. Riders then head uphill onto this crest, past pit lane for the first time. Pretty high-speed racetrack here this weekend, but a nod to the old school as well. A small single, this pyramid jump, and then we carve away through the first of many ups and downs, through the left-hander here, over the iPhone jump, and round about here is the end of the first sector. And then we drop back downhill into this other bomb hole area, through this left-hand turn, and then we swing right. That's where Cairoli crashed in the qualifying race yesterday. Dropping downhill into this bottom right-hander, the first of the long uphill climbs. Takes us underneath the Patron bridge. Of course, Patron, the sponsor of the MXGP of Russia this weekend. We swing right, we hit the first of 3 tabletops. The Monster Energy one here is about 18 meters long, the second one a bit shorter at 12 meters long, and then the City tabletop here, about 25 meters long, hitting the brakes hard, end of sector 2, right there. We're now in sector 3, uphill, a short burst, a 180 left, dropping away again on the exit. See how hard and rocky the ground is. That might play a vital part in the race this weekend. Through the wave section, and then as we come out of this right-hander and hit the Monster Energy corner tabletop, sector 3 ends about now, and from here to the finish is sector 4. But one of the coolest parts of the racetrack here, that Monster Energy jump, this huge tabletop in the middle, back on the gas, over this nice floating jump onto this crest, but you've got to hit the brakes hard here to make the inside line. You go inside, you go double, double. It's about 18 meters from peak to peak, from nothing. But on the right-hand side, a little bit safer option, but tighter as you drop down towards the Monster Energy finish line. And that's a lap here at Orlyonok with Evgeny Bobryshev on the Boss GP Kawasaki. You can hear the riders out on their sighting lap for the start of MX2 Race 1, but Lisa Leyland was down on the grid earlier. And of course, as always, she grabs a couple of riders. And anyway, Jargo Geerts was one of those riders. Let's hear what Jed Beaton has to say ahead of MX2 Race 1.
Hello and welcome to a very hot and sticky start line here for the Patron MXGP of Russia. Now I'd like to speak to Jed Beaton first, mainly just because we saw you in France, but you weren't lining up in France because I think you were a little bit beat up from a crash you had in Portugal. Just tell us how you're feeling now.
Yeah, obviously Portugal was a few weeks ago, and I've been feeling better and better every week now, so it's just about getting the time back on the bike and obviously coming back to the races and getting the race fitness and everything back up again. Yeah, it's just the first few laps I need to work on now, which is the hard part, but yeah, hopefully get off to a good start in this race and improve on that.
But of course, looking back to yesterday, best qualifying race result of the season for you. I think you were P9, so that's quite a good confidence boost for you.
Yeah, for sure. That was my my best result in the qualifying race so far this year. So it's really good for the confidence, and hopefully it's a good enough gate pick to get off to a good start today.
Okay. Have a great race. Thank you. I'd like to speak now to the quietly spoken Jorge Hit, mainly about Jorge Prado, actually. He's been pretty much unbeatable until that first race in France. How special was that win for you, for your confidence and for your motivation going forward for the next few rounds?
Yeah, it was really nice to get my first win last weekend in France. But yeah, this weekend is another race, and I will try to do the same again. It's going to be hard, but I hope to get some more wins this season and going to work hard for it.
But this track here in Russia is actually quite, well, you've got fond memories here. You actually won the 125 Junior World Championship here in 2016. A track that you feel good on?
Yeah, yesterday I felt good on the track. I have really good memories from here, from 2016 when I was world champion on the 125cc. So yeah, it's a fun track, and just going to do my best today, and we will see where we end up.
Have a great race, Jorge. Good luck. Okay, good luck to the guys here. It's time for MX2 Race 1.
As ever, the riders headed out shortly after those interviews and took a first look at the racetrack, because we've had second race of European 250 and 250 two-stroke on track earlier today, so maybe a little bit different to how it was for the warm-up, but one thing is for sure, it's still hot here, nudging 30 degrees. Let's take a look at the championship standings, shall we, ahead of this 8th round of the FI Motocross World Championship, the Patron MXGP of Russia here at Orléans. Jorge Prado arrives here still carrying the championship leader's red plate. 14 points behind him is Thomas Olsen, and 66 further back is Jorge Geerts. Jacoby is 4th and Mitch Evans is 5th. Then we have Ben Watson, Tom Vial, David Puchis, Adam Sterry and Bas Varson. They are your top 10 riders in the points chase as it stands right now. Ben Watson just 3 points behind Evans in that fight for 5th. Tom Vial just 2 behind Ben Watson as they fight over 6th place as well. So these guys are going to need to get some good starts. Anyway, let's take a look at the GoPro highlights. Qualifying race from yesterday. Everybody safely away as they headed uphill, 95 metres or so into turn 1, but it was the 28 over on the right-hand side on the Red Bull KTM, Tom Vial, who just edged out his teammate. He had to be content with 4th on the exit of the first turn. Bikes fighting for traction at the rear end. Mitch Evans, who we just saw with the GoPro, was in around about 6th or 7th place. Vial, though, lost the lead on the opening lap. That handed the advantage to Darian Sinai, but then Sinai would also make a mistake towards the end of the lap, and Chervelin found himself napping as Thomas Olsen came through briefly. Sinai fell just a few corners from the end of the lap. That allowed the advantage to the 193 of Jorge Geerts. That was Sinai picking himself up. Just managed to stay ahead of the Italian on his bike at DRT Kawasaki, but the lead at the top was challenged immediately. Prado led after lap 2. Maxime Renault, not so lucky. He fell from 12th. Wouldn't be the first time that the French rider would fall, as Sinai and Chervelin and Mitch Evans continued to battle over 4th place. Evans on the Honda there, number 43 from Australia, found his way eventually past, but it was Watson who had a monumental crash, lost the front on the takeoff towards the finish line whilst he was in 8th place. Picked himself up, he will go to the line in 25th place. A poor start for 29 Jacoby on the FNH Kawasaki. That pass on Ika Larinaga moved him up ever so slightly, but eventually he would come home in 10th place as Evans just landing off the side of the track there on that big corner tabletop. Tom Vial lucky not to do a Watson as he hit the finish line in 4th. That cost him a couple of positions. Chervelin went through, but so too did Evans. Evans eventually picked the Italian, but it was Jorge Prado for the 4th time who won the qualifying race in MX2. All quiet here at Orléans at the moment. Let's take a closer look at the top 5 in the championship chase then. Jorge Prado, Red Bull KTM, 14 points clear of the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of Thomas Kjær Olsen. Jorge Geerts for Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha, 66 points further back, 80 off the lead. Henry Jacoby, 7 behind Jorge Prado. So it's not often we've seen Jacoby out of the top 3 in the 2019 season so far, but he's got a little bit of ground to make up. And then we have Mitch Evans on the Honda 114 Motorsport machine, 23 off of Jacoby in that 5th place. Here's how the riders will go to the line, though, for MX2 Race 1 at this 8th round of the FI Motocross World Championship, the Patron MXGP of Russia. Jorge Prado on pole for the 4th time this year. Thomas Kjær-Olsen goes to the line 2nd ahead of Jorge Prado. Mitch Evans, Michele Chervelin, Tom Vial, Matthijs Borromée and Darian Sinai. Just behind them, we have Jed Beaton, Henry Jacoby rounding out the top 10. A hard charge through the field for the German. Then Bas Vassen, Ika Larinaga, good to see the Spaniard back for Marchetti Racing Team. Brian Moreau, Zach Pichon, Alvin Osland, Adam Sterry, Richard Sakina, Dylan Walsh, Mitchell Harrison, first time in Russia for the American, and then just behind Harrison, Gustavo Pessoa. Ben Watson will go to the line 25th ahead of fellow Yamaha rider Maxime Renault. Well, if you don't have a drone. Well, as we mentioned earlier, we lost one of our media people, a very close friend of MXGP and friend of the paddock as well, Adriano Dondi. Remember him when he used to work at Ustream. The radio call for him was Dondi, 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 and a call I carried on using right up until the last time I saw him in France. But our prayers and our condolences to the Dondi family. Here is Thomas Kjær-Olsen, number 19, goes to the line 2nd. He's 2nd in the championship as well on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. What can he do here this weekend? The Dane needs 2 good starts. Not been getting too many of those lately. Mitch Evans, Honda 114 Motorsports. He wore the Gopro for us in the qualifying race yesterday and brought it home in 4th place. He was happy with his consistency. Actually said the track was quite fun as well. So first time here for the Australian. And he sits 5th place in the championship, 23 behind the German on the F&H Kawasaki, number 29, Henry Jacoby. Here's your championship leader, though, Jorge Prado. Despite the hot conditions yesterday, and just as we saw on many occasions last year, he's got that little mental thing out of his brain where the heat has been an issue in the past, certainly in his first year. Henry Jacoby, he will like to improve on that 10th place in qualifying. We know that he's a racer as well, and he's not afraid to get his elbows out, is he? Tom Vial, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. I think it was announced earlier this week that he's extended his deal with KTM for another year or 2. So he can relax now, knowing that his future is safe. Jorge Prado, Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha. The only rider to beat Jorge Prado in an MX2 race this year when he was victorious in race 1, the last round 7 2 weekends ago in France at Saint-Jean-d'Angely. Came from behind to do that as well. He'll be looking to do something similar here. Jed Beaton, talking about how much he's been beaten up throughout the course of the year, but he'll be looking to capitalise on his best qualifying result from yesterday and hopefully give us some results like what he had in race 1 at Mantova, where he was 3rd. And Michele Chervelin, he'll also be looking to capitalise on that 5th place in qualifying yesterday. He got a good start. Brian Moreau, 13th in the qualifying race yesterday. Best finish of 12th overall so far this year. That was in Portugal. Adam Sterry, talked to him briefly before we came on air as the riders went into the waiting zone, and he said that just needs 2 good starts. A lot of riders on the same pace, same speed, so it's difficult to make passes. But today is another day, another racetrack, and we are getting ready to go racing here. 30 minutes plus 2 laps here. The MX2 Race 1 at the Patron MXGP of Russia. The Fly Racing 15-second board had already turned to 5. We're getting ready to go racing here, and from the middle of the gate, Jorge Prado, he will steam into the lead, but it depends on what happens on the exit of the turn, where it might have been Sinai as a couple of riders went down. We'll have to wait and see how that one planned out, but there's Prado just behind these 2 riders here, center of your screen, number 61, so this will be interesting. A little bit of fresh water out on track, So it's going to be greasy in one or two places. People like Darren Sinai are going to be the guinea pigs here, but it's Jorge Kietz in second, Vial third, Olsen, the big Dane, in fourth, Evans in fifth place, and then is that Maxime Renard, I think it is, yeah, in sixth place. Brian Moreau, the first of the Kawasaki's, in seventh, and then Matthijs Boirame, it looked like, from the Honda Red Motor Asa Motor squad, and alongside him in the fluorescence, is that Larinaga? Might have been Pooches, actually. Anyway, top end of the circuit here on what is a very hot day, almost 30 degrees, hot and humid. Darren Sinai, Bike at DRT Kawasaki, leads the way in MX2 Race 1 here in Russia. Hard on the brakes here, might be, yeah, a little bit greasy there. You see riders fighting for traction as they drop into that off-cambered right-hander. A lot of guys trying to chase the dirt around the outside, and Prado not making any moves at the moment. He's still there in around about 8th place. Oh, hate that when that happens. You wheelie through a hole like that, and the guy alongside you, in this case Darren Sinai's pursuer, 193, Jorge Kietz, probably just getting a face full of roost and water as he splashed his way through that hole. Sinai, everybody pulling tear-offs here. The track will dry out pretty quickly, such is the nature of the ground. It's a clay base, rocky, loose, stony. This is where Sinai fell towards the end of the first lap in qualifying when he led, but he gets through there, no problems at all this time around. Now, much has been said about Jorge Prado, who's currently down in 8th place. When he doesn't make a good start, it's a real test of his mettle, his resolve to try and come through the field. And when he has done, he's relied on one or two mistakes from riders to make it just a little bit easier. But we'll soon see how it all plays out here. Sinai leads, though, at the end of the first lap. Jorge Kietz second, as you can see. Third is Tom Vial. Fourth, Olsen. Fifth, Evans. 6, Renault. 7, Brian Moreau. 8, Prado. 9, Boirame. And 10, David Pooches, just there in the fluorescent pants. Chervelin is next, then Sterry, then Pichon. Going to be a little bit nervy on the opening laps here, but I tell you what, one rider not afraid to take a risk. The number 19 of Thomas Olsen, he knows from looking up the track that his championship rival, number 61, Jorge Prado, is behind him, but he's having to deal with his young teammate here at the moment. Tom Vial closes the door on the Husqvarna rider, trying to ride shotgun for his teammate as best he can at the moment. Oh, nice line there from Olsen. On the brakes, on a dry line. Evans closing in as well. So Evans doing his best to keep Maxime Renault from Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori at bay. Here is Prado just behind Evans. So he is starting to click off one or two riders now. Prado now up into 7th. He's found his way past the young Frenchman. And Maxime Renault as well. So he goes after Mitch Evans here. So you've got a Red Bull KTM here in 3rd, leading Thomas Olsen, and then Prado has just snuck up the inside of Evans, pushes the Honda wide as he wants to capitalise on that pass at the top of the hill. So end of lap 2 then. All of a sudden, Sinai is your leader, Kietz second, Vial third, Olsen 4th, Prado now up into 5th place. Behind them, Maxime Renault, Brian Moreau, Matthijs Boirame, David Pooches. Where is Watson? Watson in 14th position ahead of Beaton, Osland, Jacobi, Sakina, Van Donnick and Hardy Rousior. Mitchell Harrison, the American, in 22nd ahead of Jiri Vavisto and Dylan Walsh. And Bas Vassen hasn't circulated, so did he go down on the first turn? Conditions will start to dry out as this race goes on. Hot, humid, a cool breeze, well, not even a cool breeze, it's a warm breeze, so it's more like being in a sauna for these guys. Oh, short on the landing there for Olsen. And look who Olsen, he's found his way past Vial. So Olsen now all of a sudden up into 3rd place. Looking to go around the outside of his young teammate. Here is the 61 of Prado. He's going to switch lines back, chase the dirt, go for a dry line. The back end lights up on Prado's KTM. Needs to be patient. Does Prado. His teammate having a fantastic season as well, isn't he? Watch this. Goes to chase the dirt around the outside, lights it up, back end, over the top of the berm there. Right, end of lap 2, 3. And Sinai sets the fastest lap. Quickly a blitz by Thomas Olsen, who's now 1.9 seconds off the lead. A 1:42.8 is the new benchmark. Kietz now in third on that Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha, having just been passed by the Dane, and this is how he did it. Oh, dropping downhill towards the finish line, got better drive, stayed lower. That was Olsen into second. So Kietz third, Vial fourth, but not for much longer because here comes his teammate, Jorge Prado. And I was going to say, I can't see Vial looking to make a pass back, but Prado wasn't too short. Closed down the gap just in case. And all of a sudden, Prado now up in the fourth place. Going after Jorge Kietz. Still trying to find his way past. This is reminiscent of the Prado Hurlings days at Assen, if you recall, when Prado was a newcomer riding as a wild card at that GP. So Olsen, the fastest rider on track, he's in second place. He was just under 2 seconds. A good look up the track there for Prado, because he's about 4 seconds down on Sinai, the race leader. Tough that the American number 57 on the bike at DRT, Kawasaki, has been struggling with Epstein-Barr during the off-season. He's trying to ride his way through it, we know that. But maybe something like this, a good start, a good result, will just help with the healing process, if you like. Olsen, fastest rider on track again. Jorge Kietz just behind. So Sinai continues to lead then. Here's Prado, he's now in the fourth, still goes after the 193 of Jorge Kietz. But as we drop downhill, here's your race leader, Darian Sinai, on the bike at DRT Kawasaki. That lead was slashed by about 6/10 by the guy that's chasing him, Thomas Kier Olsen on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, up that long climb to the top of the hill. Then we have the 193 in third of Jorge Kietz being caught now by Prado. So 4 laps down, and we're on lap 5, and Prado still there in fourth position. Vial a couple of seconds further back in fifth, Evans in sixth, Renault 7, Brian Moreau 8 for Bud Racing Kawasaki, Boirame for Honda Red Motor, Asa Motor is in 9, and Michele Chervelin on the Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori bike. Puches for Diga Procross Husqvarna is next, as we continue to follow the 57 of Darian Sinai, leading MX2 Race 1 here at the Patron MXGP of Russia here at Orléans, but that 1.3 second gap has been cut to absolutely nothing as Thomas Kier Olsen, who finally gets a decent start, puts himself in a perfect position to try and at least pick Sinai for the win or for the lead. He does exactly the same as he did to Jorge Kietz, but he's going to get pushed wide by Sinai. Well, Sinai's not taking that. Yeah, the boys down there just saying, you are back, Darian Sinai, trying to offer as much motivation as possible. There's third and fourth. This is the fight between the two riders that gave us the fireworks in France in race 1. Oh, back end came out on Prado there as he came into land. Doesn't put him off though. So Prado briefly found his way past Jorge Kietz on the run towards the finish line, but it would appear that Jorge Kietz has got himself back in front in that third place. One of a few riders that Jorge Kietz would have raced as a kid in 65s and 85s, of course, Jorge Prado. Not an easy racetrack, lots of unforgiving terrain, sharp little edges of rock. They will go down to the bare essentials with this wet track as well. You'll get that crowning rock will become quite greasy. We'll look to go to the outside again here as he tries to orchestrate a pass on Jorge Kietz. Oh, is he going to do him at the end of the straight? See the Yamaha versus KTM power there, and Prado stays a little bit lower. And he's going to get closed down here by the Belgian. He does so. Both riders run wide at the top of the hill. And another challenge for the lead here. This time he'll cut it back to the inside, will he, Olsen? He does. But it was Sanai who was classified as leading, and he still leads as we head uphill on lap 7. And the same with the Yamaha and the KTM of Geertz and Prado, battling over 3rd and 4th place. These two are about 3 and 3.5 seconds off the lead. Sanai doing a fantastic job leading the way here, though. 13.5 minutes plus 2 to go. Opposite scrubs. Goes in the favour of Sanai, the American. Just saw a flash of Jorge Geertz come into view there, and Olsen not able to go down the inside of Sanai there either. Here's Prado, just lost the rear wheel of Jorge Geertz for now. 2 seconds behind them is still Tom Vial. Evans still in 6th, Renault 7, Brian Moreau 8. Oh, heavy landing there for the big Dane. Brian Moreau is in 8th, Boromé 9, Chervel in 10, Puch is 11, Sterry 12, Pichon 13. In fact, he's just been passed by Henry Jacobi, who's having a quiet race in the thick of it. On his F&H Kawasaki, he's in 13th. Gwen Watson is in 15th place, ahead of Beaton, Osland, Van Donnick, Sakina and Ruziorg. Going defensive again, the 57 of Sanai. He knows he can run wide on the exit of that turn and cover the line here, dropping down in this tight right. But again, Olsen doesn't want to get caught behind Sanai for too long, because he knows that if Prado gets by Geertz, it will be no time at all before the KTM and the championship leader will be onto the rear wheel of the Husky, and the gap you see is right there. Looks like Prado's just taking a little bit of breathing space here, actually. Again, he's tried this 2 or 3 times, Thomas Olsen. This time, a little bit more success, but again, let's check the power out between the Kawasaki and the Husky. Wow, tell you what, Steve Dixon's engine's there on that bike at DRT Kawasaki, nothing wrong with that. Out drags the full factory Husqvarna. Many people assume that the Huskies and the KTMs are far superior to everything else out on the line, especially with the way that Prado is riding, in that he's won almost every race that he's entered this year and every round of the Grand Prix Series in MX2. But Darren Sanai showing that that's a very quick Kawasaki, but he's going to lose out here this time around. Oh, love tap there as well as he goes into the turn. Rubber on rubber. And I tell you what, Prado has got himself alongside Jorge Geertz. Doesn't get the clean drive on the Yamaha, and Prado goes through into 3rd. So all of a sudden, Prado has clear track. Down to him now to stay focused and try and close down the gap to Sanai. And it's also down to the 193 of Jorge Geertz to try and stay on the rear wheel and force the pressure, apply the pressure from behind, as he looks to maybe try to go after Prado. But there's your first 4 riders. Olsen getting his head down, trying to make a break for it. 1 or 2 mistakes starting to creep into the game of Sanai now. Wow. Absolutely bar to bar as they flew through the air there, but look at the way that Prado just gets over that second tabletop, closes down the door immediately on Sanai and moves into 2nd place in one foul swoop. So 2 riders in the space of a lap then for the 61 of Jorge Prado, as he now moves into 2nd and sets the fastest lap of the race. The gap between him and that guy disappearing out over sight there is just over 2 seconds. Olsen leads over Prado here. He has worked hard. It's taken him 8 laps to get into 2nd position, and he's done it coolly, calmly and methodically. Right, Sanai, how long can he keep Jorge Geertz at bay for in that 3rd place? Well, the answer looked like he was, well, he would have seen the kind of moves that Olsen was trying to put on Sanai while he was sat there in 3rd. Whoa, a back end lighting up there as the rear wheel of that Yamaha catches a slick patch on the exit of that turn, top end of the circuit. Tom Vial is starting to close in as well, look. So Sanai, oh, and a mistake from the American. That is all that was needed for Jorge Geertz to find his way through into 3rd place. A lot of action going on here in the early stages of MX2. race one. And there you see Vial closing. And there's Mitch Evans as well, the Honda 114 Motorsports rider, just behind the young Frenchman there, number 28. Give you a fresh countdown of the top 20 when they hit the line at the end of lap 9, which is what we're on now. And, whoa, he had to hit the brakes there. Tell you what, he almost pulled a stoppie then, did the 28 of Vial. So 9 laps complete. Just watch this here. He's on the brakes, and he was almost 90 degrees to, well, he was. Look at that. Oh, how he avoided the 57 there, I have no idea, but both riders remain on track. So Olsen, 2.6 seconds clear of Prado. And Prado's teammate goes past to move himself into 4th place. Mitch Evans just lining up the American as well. So Olsen leads Prado. Kiet's third. Vial now 4th. Sanai on the Kawasaki is 5th. The guy at the back there in red for Honda 114 Motorsports, Mitch Evans of Australia, is in 6th. Maxime Renault is about 7-8 seconds behind these guys. Then we've got Brian Moreau, Matthias Boirame, Chervelin, Jacoby, Pichon, Sterry in 13th. Porches 14. Watson is 15. Beaton 16, Austin, Van Donnick, Sakina and Ruzior. Dylan Walsh is outside of the points for Revo Husqvarna UK in 21st place. His teammate in 17th, but was it only a matter of time before Sanai started to succumb to the riders around him, because still trying to ride himself into fitness, doesn't ride during the week, can barely train during the week as well. Such was the severity of his symptoms. Oh, Moreau, 225, just making a mistake coming out of the turn as he's under pressure now from Boirame. These two fighting over 8th place. The Bud Racing Kawasaki and the Honda Red Motor Asa Motor machine. So Evans now up in the 5th place, just ahead of these guys. Check this out. Oh. Matthijs Boirame is bringing the 747 of Michele Chervelin in the yellow and black just behind him as they gang up on Brian Moreau, the rookie to the class. In fact, the two guys ahead of the Yamaha rider here, both rookies in the class. The one in the middle on the Honda is the defending European 250 champion. Or reigning, I should say, not defending. Of course, he's MX2 now. Just behind them, Jacoby in 11th place. Look, starting to put a hard charge on. So too Boirame. The Honda not able to outdrag the Kawasaki. Might get it done here, though, but Moreau just a little bit more efficient at the back wheel at the top of the hill. So Moreau, 8th. Boirame, 9. Chervelin, 10 on the Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori machine. And Jacoby right there as well, and he runs up the inside of Chervelin. Not able to go through, though, but these three holding each other up as Jacoby has whittled down a huge gap at the start of this lap. Yeah, Moreau looking left, looking right, trying to keep Boirame behind him. And that's just playing perfectly into the hands of Jacoby, because all of a sudden, in the line of sight as Boirame almost off the side of the track there. Jacoby just off the back of this group. Boirame does get down the inside of Brian Moreau. So as they hit the line to start lap 12, it's the Honda who leads the way, but he runs wide and he's now under attack from the Yamaha of Chervelin. Chervelin might find his way through at the end of the straight here, but the Frenchman just keeping the Italian at bay. And Jacoby looking to go around the outside of Brian Moreau, and he does so. So 3 positions lost to Brian Moreau in the space of a lap. So Brian Moreau all of a sudden getting pushed down to 11th place. Boirame up to 8th. Chervelin 9, Jacoby 10. Meanwhile, keeping an eye on what's happening at the top end of the leaderboard. Olsen just 1.6 seconds clear of Prado, and here it is, the gap with about 10 minutes plus 2 to go. is that 1.6. He's doing his best to close it down. First sector, Prado pulled back about a tenth. Second sector, they're almost equal. Third sector, Prado pulls back about 3/4 of a second. So you would have to surmise that we're going to be looking at about a second or maybe 9/10 of a second as they hit the line at the bottom of this next hill. So all of a sudden, Thomas Kjær-Olsen is going to find himself on the ropes a little bit. Watch this. So over the line, a 41.6 and a 41.0, just over a second between Olsen and Prado. Oh, just catches the... there is a fantastic view from our overhead drone cam. Gives you some impression as to the amount of elevation that we have here at Orlenok in Russia. So Olsen leads, but not by much. Dropping down the hill over on the far side of the circuit before the uphill, the long uphill climb. Olsen managing the gap at the moment. It's the first time we've really seen these two going head-to-head. Just looking at Argentina, there was no contest really. The Netherlands, the same. Italy and Trentino. Mantova, it was muddy, and Olsen a 6 and a second. I think this is the first real time we've seen these two, the two riders in the championship. Olsen in second, Prado leading as the points chase, going at it for a race win here. Right, Chervelin all over the back of Matthijs Boisramé. So Boisramé, 172 on the Honda. See how those ruts are starting to chew out. I hope they leave those in there, because they're going to be real deciding factors on the track. Those two little deep ruts, riders are going to have to start looking for new lines. As soon as you take them out, just takes away some of the technical ability. You see, like, riders go inside and make a mistake. The rider on the outside can find his way through. So here's Sanai. So he's now in 6th place. So this was him leading earlier on. And Olsen ran his way down the inside to take over the lead. Then Prado came through into second. That was about lap 8. And Prado set the fastest lap then. That's that tricky corner. That was Jorge Geerts going through to third. Vial going through into 4th place. And then this was Mitch Evans finding his way into 5th with that pass around the outside of Sanai. So Sanai now still in 6th place, about 18 seconds off the lead. That gap's still about a second between Olsen and Prado. A question of who blinks first. Almost identical machinery, you would think, but different exhaust pipes. They're free to tune these things differently as well, but Husqvarna very much carving their own identity over the last couple of years. Olsen doing a great job of keeping the points leader and defending champion at bay at the moment, but for how much longer? Olsen last time around set his fastest lap of the race of 41.1, but that was still a tenth slower than Prado at the end of lap 13. They're working their way towards the end of lap 14. Here's Maxime Renault just going through. And then we've got Boisramé, Chervelin and Jacobi still fighting over 8th place. 1.2 the gap between Olsen and Prado. So just keeping an eye on that as we go back to this battle here. Jorge Prado, overshooting at the end of the straight there. That would have cost him a little bit of time. Almost looked like he misjudged the tabletop there, the wrong one. Front end got a bit high on him. Hasn't stopped him going after the 19 though. Thomas Kjær-Olsen leads. Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, the Red Bull KTM of 61. Jorge Prado right there behind him in second. Having to ride a little bit loose now is Prado. But it's effective because he's got himself right back onto the rear wheel and he's getting ready to line up a pass here with 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. France, we saw a win for the first time this year from anybody other than Jorge Prado in races that he's lined up in. And that went to Jorge Geerts, who's about 3 seconds behind these two in third. Are we going to see a second race defeat in as many GPs for Jorge Prado? 4 minutes 40 plus 2 laps is a long time around this racetrack. Lap time's about 1:41 or 2. These two really pushing the envelope here on what is a very hot day. 30 degrees or thereabouts. Brent Watson now up into 11th place. Just caught an eye on the screen there. 33 seconds off the lead. He's found his way past Brian Moreau. Jed Beaton is 13, Sterry 14, Van Donnick, Osland, Sakina, Walsh, Harrison and Ruziorg. Prado just sets the fastest lap of the race as he comes through at the end of lap 15. And he has got about a half a second between him and Olsen. So it's go time here for Jorge Prado, the Spaniard. Looking to add another 3 points to his World Championship advantage over Thomas Olsen. We came here, the gap was 14 between Prado and Olsen. It'll be 11. David Puch is out. Diga Procross, Husqvarna rider then makes his way disconsolately back towards the paddock. Thomas Olsen looking to try and claw back 3 vital World Championship points. It'll be 11 points if it stays like this going into race 2. Prado goes through. It'll go from 14 to 17. That's how much is at stake here. No Claudio Di Carli here this weekend as well. Had a slight minor surgical procedure. He won't be back until probably Germany. But Chervelin has found his way past Boirame. So the Yamaha SM Action Migliori rider now finds himself up into 8th place. Jacoby still can't find a way through. Maxime Renault just at the top end of the straight. So the two Yamahas line astern, but it's the young French kid who leads his more experienced Italian teammate. There's Watson coming into play as well. He has taken advantage of this freight train of riders holding themselves up, and he's got right onto the back of the top 10 here, Watson. Jacoby, he'll run it down the inside. He won't think twice. He's not scared. That also plays into the hands of Watson. He takes the Frenchman as well. Jacoby had one thing on his mind there as he went for Boirame. So Jacoby then, watch this, up to 9th. Runs him wide while those two get untidy. Watson was there right at the right time to pick up the pieces. So Watson now 10th. Right, Watson then, after his big get-off yesterday on the finish line, looking to pick up some points in the latter stages of this race, but this gap down to nothing. It was just over a second at the start of the lap. And Prado, oh, he's dangerous when he does that, isn't he? Goes to the inside. That might be a last lap dash for the pass, if he's not already found his way past Olsen by the time we are just a handful of corners away. But it's been very effective here as well. Stays nice and low. Has to switch from right to left as he comes into land there, and he looks to square off as well. Nice choice of lines there. He might get the way round, but he doubles his way through. He's short. Nothing in it as they hit the line. 3/10 in fact. How much more can Thomas Olsen take? The pressure being thrown at him from Jorge Prado, who really hasn't had to work this hard all season long. Nice and low over there as well, isn't he? Very effective, very efficient. Here's the Red Bull KTM. Are we going to see a pass at the bottom of this next downhill? We've got back markers on the horizon. Turns early at the top of the hill, does Prado, but Olsen right there will be looking for blue flags any moment now. As we start to get in amongst the lappers, please don't let this one be decided by a lack of communication. Oh. Prado. Olsen is just absolutely spewing underneath his helmet. Just wanting these guys to get out of the way. They do just that. They move on by, they let the leaders go through. Adam Sterry now into down to 14th. Van Donnick has found his way by on the Honda Red Motor Asa Motor machine. Right, Prado follows Olsen at the end of the straight this time around, but there's absolutely nothing in it now as we enter the final 2 laps of the race here. Olsen knows, and he's known for about the last 8 laps, that Prado's been coming. He needs to defend at the top of the hill here. He doesn't do that, or does he? Oh, he does just about cover his line as he goes into that right-hander, neatly over the double, goes single, and then launches, and Prado almost off the side of the track there as he finds that he's looking desperate to pick up these 25 points. Trying to rattle Olsen. Watch this, just comes out of view, almost off the side of the track. I tell you what, he would have gone through it, straight through those banners if he was offline. There's a lot of loose rubble just on the edge of the track there. Whoa, heavy landing as he comes into land there for Prado. We are on the final lap and a bit. Fantastic scrap between the top 2 in the championship, but Prado is going to find a way through at the bottom of the hill here. Olsen gets run wide. Oh, heartbreak for number 19, but perfect timing for Prado. He's done that himself all through the race when he started passing riders, Olsen, and he just left that door open, gave half a sniff to the 61, and all of a sudden he now finds himself in second. A lap and a half to go. Down to Prado now, just to try and keep a cool head. He knows how to win a race though, doesn't he? There's Jorge Prado. He's not that far away. Is he going to jump himself into second position on the basis that with a lap and a half to go, Thomas Olsen's head may have just gone? There's first, second and third. Jorge Prado so far has 11 race wins this year. That guy there, Jorge Prado, has 1. We've had 14 races. Olsen there in the middle. He's had 2 wins, and that was when Prado didn't line up at Matterley, round 2. What has he got? Has he got anything left in the sack to try and pull back that position he just lost to Prado? And what about Jorge Prado? Is he going to muster up something on the final lap here to rub salt in the wounds of Olsen, who was passed here a lap ago? Great recovery this for Jorge Prado. He looked like he was out of it, letting these two just get on with it, but from out of nowhere he has just been putting in good lap times. A 40.6 on the last lap, a 42.8 for Olsen on that same tour. Prado, Olsen, Prado separated by about 3 seconds as they entered the final lap, and Prado is not done yet. Are we going to see a last lap dash for second? And is it going to be the Yamaha rider? Just a little bit out of shape there at the top right-hand turn. Riding with growing confidence after his race win in France 2 weekends ago. Prado takes a long look over his shoulder as he launches downhill for the final time. I think Jorge Prado is just going to run out of time as he tries to make the pass for second. He's got 2 corners to go. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, but what a race we've had here. MX2 Race 1 in Russia. Jorge Prado started around about 7th or 8th. He gradually chipped his way through, and with a lap and a half to go, Prado took the win, and that is a big win as well because he did it from behind at the expense of Thomas Olsen. Here's how he did it. Just a lap and a half ago. That was the earlier off-track excursion, but then just a few corners later, managed to run it down the inside of Olsen. Looks over his shoulder, wants to know who else is there lining him up, but it was a big win for Jorge Prado. We'll give you the top 20 classification in just a moment. But Chervelin over the line in 9th place, Watson 10th, so Jacoby found his way past Chervelin on the final lap. So far then, we've got Prado, Olsen, Prado, Vial, Evans, Sanai, Renault, Jacoby, Chervelin and Watson over the line. Warame, Jed Beaton 12th. These are all unofficial, of course, for now. Brent Van Donnick 13th. But let's go talk to Jorge Prado. Here he is with Lisa Leyland.
Jorge Prado, congratulations. A rare bad start for you, so you really had to work hard in that race. Just how tough was it to get this race win?
Yeah, it was a tough start, I got, not too bad, I got a little wheel spin after the gate, and, I got together with many riders in the start. I had to make my way up, but I did it 2 laps ago. I pushed a bit extra, and, I got him on the downhill, so really looking forward for the second moto.
Good luck for the second race.
Short, sweet, and efficient. His post-race analysis, just like the efficiency out on track. Jorge Prado wins by 1.2 seconds over Thomas Olsen in what was a fantastic MX2 race here in Russia. Jorge Kietz just a little bit behind them in third, but not much. 1.5 seconds off of Olsen. Vial fourth, and Evans was fifth. Great ride from Darian Snyder, come home in sixth, but big win for Jorge Prado here in race 1. Give you official confirmation then, MX2 race 1 here, the Patron MXGP of Russia here at Orlinok. A win for Jorge Prado, Thomas Olsen second, Jorge Kietz third, Tom Vial fourth, Mitch Evans fifth, Sinai sixth, Maxime Renault and Henry Jacobi finding his way past Chervlin on the final lap. Watson was 10th, Matej Boromé 11, Jed Beaton 12, Brent Van Donnick, Adam Sterry, Alvin Osland, Richard Sakina, Dylan Walsh. Mitch Harrison found his way into 18th, past his teammate at Bud Racing Kawasaki, Brian Moreau, on the final lap. And Hardy Rouzior came home in 20th place, the number 75 on the WZ Racing KTM. Check out those highlights. What a fantastic race we had here in MX2. The gate drop, wasn't sure if it was Jorge Kietz or Darren Sinai that grabbed the Foxhole shot, but because it's a weird line for the Foxhole shot line this weekend, and it might have, well, we'll look closely at that in a minute, but Sinai led in the early stages, closely followed by Jorge Kietz, Tom Vial, Thomas Olsen, Mitch Evans, and Maxime Renault. Wasn't long though before Olsen started carving his way past people, made a move on Vial to get himself into third, but the Frenchman was not taking it lying down. Meanwhile, Prado up the inside of Evans to get himself into fifth towards the end of the first lap. Olsen eventually did find his way into third with this pass on Tom Vial. Then he went after Jorge Kietz, got himself into second. And then, after tailing his teammate for a few laps, Prado eventually found his way past his teammate to get himself up into fourth. Then we had different battles out on the track. The battle for first and second between Sinai and Olsen. That changed hands though. And so too did this battle here. Prado for third on Jorge Kietz. That was around about the halfway stage. Prado then went after Darren Sinai. 2 positions in a lap for the number 61. And then the floodgates started to open. Sinai just sort of suffering from fitness. Got caught out and was getting past. This was Evans finding his way past for 5th. And that was around about lap 10. The battle for 8th, 9th and 10th was Boromé as David Puches pulled out, but Boromé and a whole bunch of guys, Jacobi, Chervlin, all ganging up. Watson found a way through as well as Jacobi opened the door as he pushed the Frenchman wide. A lap and a half to go, and it was the 61 of Prado who nudged aside Olsen, and he managed to hold on by just over a second from the Dane. 12 wins in a season now for Jorge Prado. But how much did that take out of the young Spaniard? Let's take a look at the Foxhole shot, shall we? It was very tight, but was it conclusive in the end? Oh, Darian Sinai by about a week. His first Foxhole shot of the year. So he'll be pleased with that. Looks like he's fresh out of the shower there as well, bless him. Didn't pick up any last year, actually. So Prado still heads that up though with 9, Tom Vial 4, Sinai on 1, Rowan van der Moosdijk on 1 as well from Portugal. Woo! All right, let's get our breath back, shall we? And take a look at some of the best moments from MX2 Race 1. Right, that was MX2 here from Russia. Join us in a few moments. When we return, it will be for MXGP Race 1. We'll see you then. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Russia here for round 8 of the FIM Motocross World Championship with me, Paul Malin. It's the Patron MXGP of Russia. We are at All In Up for the 3rd year in a row. A fantastic location as well. We're on the east shores of the Black Sea. And this place here that you're looking at just happens to be the All In Up Children's Centre, which is an all year round camp for kids aged between 11 and 16. And what a fantastic location they have for enjoying their summer holidays. They reckon that somewhere between around about 3,500 people show up there in sort of during the summer and the spring. We're just across the road from this facility here. That's where we had the opening ceremony as well the other night on Friday. And the buildings here that you see are all part of that camp. But the round one with the pointy roof, that is the paddock here this weekend. There it is, just coming into view now. The riders treating this one somewhat like a flyaway, if you like. They're all underneath there with their flyaway cases, and no race trucks to be seen this weekend, unless you're Teno Leop, of course, the A1M Husqvarna rider. Of course, being Estonian, not too far away from here, he'll drive back to the Latvian Grand Prix in a week's time. Adriano Dondi, one of our media representatives, sadly passed away over the weekend, last weekend. Of course, our thoughts, our prayers, our condolences to his family at his sudden loss. But good to see that we're remembering him here this weekend in Russia. He was due to come here as well this weekend. So anyway, there's a look at the track. Before we go anywhere, though, let's take a look behind the scenes at Monster Energy Yamaha, I believe, MXGP.
I was on a good move coming into the 2019 season. Yeah, I get injured and now I'm coming back from injury. I already scored a podium after my second race, so I'm quite happy, but I want more. Stepping on the box on the home GP in France was always special. Like I say, home GP it's always special, mainly in France with the super crowd that we always have. Leading, I think, 20 minutes of the race was really important, and yeah, I was feeling much better as the first moto when I was fighting in the group. Soon I step on the front and stay on the front all the race. What I have on the nose during racing is simply the same as the plastic that some are using. It's like really hard plastic and it stays always at the same place with magnetic on the top. And I put with some tape, like magnetic on my nose first. So it pulls my nose both sides. These have the particularity to stay all the races.
Our team is the factory team, and of course we don't have a competition with Vilvo, but also Team Vilvo, we have two really good riders, and we've seen the last 3GP podium, and also us last weekend back in the podium, so it's nice to have many Yamaha bikes in front. Honestly, overseas I like a lot. It's different than Europe GP, because here we have all what we needed, but it's different. Place is same for every team, so not different, and for me it's nice.
The team is great, you know. From the very first day I had an awesome feeling. I had a really great team last year as well, but you know, I was used to a real factory team. This is just back how it was at Suzuki, kind of, you know, really a lot of experience, good mechanics, good people, so I felt home immediately. It kind of, you know, came all together really nice for me. After last year, my expectations, of course, were, you know, to be in the top 5. To be honest, I struggled in the beginning as I had like a lung infection, but last few races I kind of, you know, started to reach my goal and be up front. That's what I tried to do the rest, you know, of the season. Still plenty of races to come. The first 2-3 spots are just, you know, that little bit away, which is not much anymore, but it's many small pieces, you know. It's your head, it's your conditions, it's the bike, it's, you know, how you feel. It's just one big combination of things to step it up.
Quick look behind the scenes then at Monster Energy Yamaha MXGP. Of course, Adriano Dondi, we miss you too, my friend. But as you can see, the MXGP riders making their way towards the end of their sighting lap ahead of MXGP Race 1. Before that, though, Lisa Lehner was down on the grid. She caught up with home hero, number 777, Evgeny Bobryshev from Boss Factory. But before that, Otto Clonus, Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha.
Some really tough conditions for the first MX2 race, but we've got MXGP Race 1 coming up shortly. Now, I'd like to speak to Otto Clonus, firstly about the back-to-back podiums. You've got 3rd overall in Portugal, 2nd overall in France. Coming into this round, are you riding with confidence? Are you riding with momentum?
I do, definitely. When you have 2 podiums in a row, it gives you confidence, but here it's another weekend. You know, we start again from zero, so I'll try to get a good start and give everything I got.
Qualifying yesterday, not the best start. I think you finished P9. What's it like out there? Because it seems even hotter today. Is it going to be a tough one?
Yeah, for sure. It's the first race for us where we're going to have to fight with the heat. So it's going to be the same for everyone. And try to be smart in the beginning, maybe save a bit some energy and push hard to the end.
Have a great race. Thanks,
you.
Arno. The second rider I'd like to catch up with is home hero Evgeny Bobryshev. Evgeny, is it true, I actually heard this yesterday, that this is going to be your last race until you get your wrist sorted? You're going to have it operated on and you'll be out for around a month, is that true?
Yeah, that's right. Last week I spoke to the doctor. He said I need to operation because my ligament's broken. So finally I decide next week to have another visit to him and decide when I have to operate it, because I cannot do right anymore like that. It's all the time painkillers, injections. You know, it's not the way to fight for the places, and I already lost so many races.
When do you think you'll be back then?
Good question. I think it will take a while.
Well, on a positive note, it is your home GP. The fans are out in full force and they're all behind you. Is that a nice feeling? Have you been looking forward to this race?
Yeah, it's huge motivation for me. Lots of people come to support and cheering me on the track. So even if I'm struggling, you know, it's still cool. They keep me up to continue riding. Yeah.
Well, have a good home GP. Thanks, Bobby. Okay, good luck to Bobby at his home race, and to all the guys here. It's time for MXGP Race 1.
So the riders just a few moments ago were out on their sighting lap. They are now back, of course. And they're getting ready, getting themselves through their final rituals, their routines ahead of MXGP Race 1. A nice warm breeze blowing around this racetrack, temperatures hovering around 30 degrees here. Let's take a look at the championship standings, though, as we head into MXGP Race 1 here at the Patron MXGP of Russia. Tony Cairoli, just a couple of weeks ago, he had a 40-point lead over Tim Geiser, but the HRC rider has whittled that down to 10 points, having won the last 4 races. And, of course, Tony Cairoli hit the gate in France, race 2 weeks ago. Jorge Prado is in third. He lost ground on the 2 leaders, though. He's 83 off of Geiser de Sal. Just 10 points back, though, on his Kawasaki. And Arminas Jasikonis, 18 further back in fifth. Fantastic season, actually, for the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider. Right, if you weren't with us yesterday, here's what happened in the MXGP qualifying race yesterday. Gate drops, and heading uphill 95 meters to turn 1. Everybody sort of jostled for position, but it was Roman Fevre who closed the door on Tony Cairoli. Cairoli just up the inside there as Herlings went past into 4th. Of course, we have the return of Jeffrey Herlings this weekend. But then as the riders started to separate up the hill, first rider to make the mistake, top left of your screen, Jeffrey Herlings just hit a wet patch. He went down right in front of his teammate. So all of a sudden, Cairoli was promoted to 4th. Jeffrey Herlings just picked himself up, regained his composure after a couple of laps and started a charge through the field. Cairoli was down the inside of Anstey, though, as he started to make way towards the front end. But it was Gauthier Paulin who was also in the mix. He was in 3rd, just behind the 25 of de Sal. That was Herlings going past the number 18 of Sever Bruyakov. Bruyakov would eventually come home in 19th. Tommy Searle, not sure if he was injured, but he also had a mechanical there, and it's been announced that he will not race today. Aerial formation for the top 4 or 5 guys, though, led out by the 461, and then Cairoli fell top of the hill whilst he was pushing on for 4th place. He was that was him going down with the GoPro, and de Sal had nowhere to go, slammed straight into his bike. Anstey was lucky to avoid it as well, but Cairoli was down and winded. He came in at the end of that lap, so he will go to the gate 25th for the 2 races this afternoon. Gauthier Paulin in that 2nd position, eventually came under pressure from Geiser. It was a simple slip over for the Frenchman. Geiser went through into 2nd with 4 laps to go, but up front it was Roman Fevre who was in a class of his own. He controlled the gap. It was always about 4 or 5 seconds, and the Honda of Tim Geiser had no reply. In the end, it was Fevre with his 2nd qualifying race win of the year. Remember, he won in Argentina as well at round 1, and good to see the Frenchman back to winning ways. That is a Porntash if I ever saw one. But the top 5 in the championship look like this. In a little bit more detail, Tony Cairoli on 3:11, just 10 behind him is Tim Geiser. Then we've got Paul-Anne Desal, Jasikonis. Jasikonis and Desal will be duking it out over 4th today, along, well, maybe even 3rd, because Paul-Anne not too far ahead of them. Riders are back from the sighting lap. Of course, when they come back, the waiting zone is closed there, so their little part fermate, which means they are directly in the heat of the sunshine. Here's the start list then as we head to MXGP Race 1. Patron MXGP of Russia will see Roman Febvre line up on pole for the 2nd time this season ahead of Tim Geiser, Gauthier Paulin, and a good, decent ride for Max Anstey. Jeremy Seewer up next, and then Desal, Jasikonis and Jordi Tixier. Likewise, a good result for him. Otto Clonus came back from about 20th to 9th, clearly liking the conditions here. And then Paul Jonas will go to the line 10th. Bobryshev had a decent performance to please the home fans in 11th, and then it was Benoit Paturel, Jeremy Van Horbeke, Glenn Koldenhoff, Kevin Strybos, Hurlings 15th in the end, Lieber, Petrov, and the rest of the guys, as you can see on screen. So it'll be interesting to see where the top guys start from as they line up for... There's, well, in fact, his teammate there, Alessandro Lupino as well. He fell whilst up in 7th place. He was stretchered off, but nothing serious. Cairoli winded himself, so nothing serious. So the two buddies over on the far side, they will be, I would think, to the right side of the box. There's Roman Febvre. He lines up first. And then Tim Geiser, the man of the moment at the moment in MXGP. 4 wins on the bounce. 7 in total this year. The last time he did that in the first 7 rounds was taking 6 wins from the first 7 rounds, and the year that he was world champion, of course, in 2016. So certainly hitting world championship form if you want to make references. Otto Clonus, Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha, back-to-back podiums the last 2 rounds, 3rd and 2nd in Portugal and France. What can he do here this weekend? And Gauthier Paulin had a nightmare last 2 rounds in Portugal and France. He'll be looking to get back on the podium, as he has done already at Matterley, Trentino and Lombardia in Italy. The return of the defending champion, Jeffrey Hurlings, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, didn't have the fairy tale ride yesterday. Started 4th, crashed out on the first lap in qualifying, and had to be content with 16th. And Jeremy Seewer, he was on our MXGP TV studio show yesterday. If you want to catch that, of course, if you're new to MXGPTV.com, then don't be afraid to go check out all of our action live or on demand, of course. Studio shows included, and so too behind the gates. There's Clement Desal, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. We've been here on 2 previous occasions, and he has won on both of those occasions. 1 in the deep mud, 1 in the hot sun of last year. There's his teammate, Julian Lieber. 17th in qualifying yesterday for Monster Energy Kawasaki. Cairoli will be as far over. You know what, I thought he would have probably just gone a couple gates over just to give himself a bit of room. Monticelli lining up as well. The standing construct KTM rider all of a sudden disappeared out of the race around about lap 5 or lap 6 in the qualifier, whilst in 17th place. But we're under the starters' orders here. The Patron MXGP of Russia is about to get underway. The Fly Racing 15-second board up, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. MXGP Race 1. We are about to go racing here. Who will it be that grabs the all-important foxhole shot? Of course, Tony Cairoli heads the list with 8 at the moment coming into this one. But the revs are up, the heads go down. See, we're just taking a little bit longer to settle himself. But it's Febvre from the middle of the gates. Can he close the door? Yes, he can, just like he did in the qualifying race. Oh, and it was between him and Geiser. Geiser squeezing the Frenchman on the exit of the turn. But Geiser leads right from the very first turn here. And Cairoli, where is he? Well, there's Hurlings. And Cairoli is just there, flashing through right at the back, Tony Cairoli. So he is going to be in about 22nd position. Wow. So we have drama already here on the opening lap of MXGP Race 1. But we have Geiser leading the way. Desal on the Kawasaki is 2nd. And then we have Clonus. Fantastic start for him in 3rd. Febvre just behind him in 4th. Hurlings in 5th. Seewer in 6th position just there. 7th looked like it may have been Pat Sherrill. get them through here, or maybe even Jonas, actually. There's Hurlings. And the 91 of Seaward just behind him. But it's Geiser who leads. They drop into this tight right. DeSalle second, Clonus third, Febvre fourth, Hurlings is fifth. Sixth, oh, and Jonas charging down the inside of Jeremy Seaward. And Bobryshev is taking his boot off, and he is in some serious pain there. Wow, in what is going to be his last ride before he has wrist surgery. Evgeny Bobryshev down and out at his home round, just like Sever Brilikov was after finishing fourth in MX2 Race 1 last year, and required knee surgery, but he already knows he's in pain there, Bobryshev. He's got his boot undone, trying to get that boot off, but we'll get back to that a little bit later on if we can, just to give you some kind of update. But towards the end of this first lap, it is Geiser who leads. Jonas was impressive yesterday in the qualifying race. Didn't make the best start, but eventually came home in 10th. So Geiser leads. DeSalle by just over a second. Clonus third, Febvre fourth, Hurlings is fifth. There he is. Sixth is the 41 of Jonas. Seventh is Seaward. Eighth, Coldenhoff. Ninth for Benoit Patrel. Julian Lever 10. Monticelli is in 11th place as the riders hurtle downhill. Waved yellow, so it's going to be wheels on the ground as they approach this point here. And, well, I tell you what, they are stood in a very, very difficult position there, those marshals. So Bobryshev falling in between where Cairoli fell and Jeffrey Hurlings fell in the qualifying race yesterday. Monticelli is 11th. Strybos now 13th because Jasikonis has gone through. 14th is Anstey. 15 is Tixier. 16 Brilikov. Cairoli 17. Bogas 18. Guriev 19. Van Horbik is 20. Then we have Leok, Lupino, Mikhailov, Petrov, Bobryshev. Obviously, and no Paulin as well, so I'm not sure where Paulin is, whether he went down on the first turn or whether he was involved in that incident. But he hasn't circulated either. No splits for Paulin. So where is the second of the Monster Energy Wilbo Yamaha riders? His teammate already going through. There's Seaward, there's Coldenhoff, the standing construct. Leave around the outside of Paturel. There's Cairoli. Bogas just behind him. So all of a sudden, we've got Geiser leading the championship by 10 points here as we are coming towards the end of this second lap. Tim Geiser in control. He has won the last 4 races in MXGP, the last 2 rounds overall. And he has a 1.6 second advantage. Well, there is Paulin. So Paulin in 7th all of a sudden. So obviously a timing issue, briefly. Waved yellows and waved medical flags. Obviously need to be mindful of that. You need to be seen to be backing off the gas. But Geiser on the pegs around the outside. Everybody going around the outside there as they drop downhill. And Bobryshev is out of the way now, so hopefully he can be seen too. Reduced throttle. Well, they were reducing the throttle as they came over the crest, but what about on the downside? Guess that'll all be looked at, but Geiser continues to lead DeSalle. There is Roman Febvre in 4th place. Then we have Hurlings. Then Paulin. So Paulin has found his way past Jonas. And the foxhole shot went to Roman Febvre. So that'll be 2 for the Monster Energy Yamaha rider for the season. Picked up his first one in race 2 in France last time out. So back-to-back foxhole shots for the 461 of Roman Febvre. But it's Geiser who leads the Team HRC. We need to keep an eye on Cairoli's form. He's only up to 16th. He's just found his way past the JWR Yamaha of Kevin Strybos. Clement DeSalle, of course, he's no stranger to winning here. Having won here on the last 2 occasions, he is perfectly placed in 2nd position at the moment. Geiser, the fastest man on track. There is Cairoli. He is in 16th place on the Red Bull KTM. Spoke to the boys down there this morning, especially David DeCarli, and I asked if Tony was okay after that qualifying race crash. And he said, yeah, he was just winded. Right, there's Hurlings. Oh, Paulin is down. He has gone down big as well, and that is on one of those jumps before this point of the racetrack. Is that over one of the scrub jumps? Paulin is out of 5th place, and he looks hurt. Wow. And that might be just after pit lane, either on the left. One of those little jumps in the dip there. Just across the way from where these guys are now. As they come out of this left-hander. Paulin will be down in the dip somewhere. There he is, look. And DeSalle makes a bobble. The Monster Energy Kawasaki rider. Seawer goes through. Koldenhoff goes through. Lieber, his teammate. So he's going to be in around about 9th, 10th place at the moment. So drama on lap 4 here. What happened? Oh, he just lost the back end coming into the turn. Just hit a slick patch. So now Clonus up to 4th place. Ah, good to see Paulin up and trying to get that Yamaha fired into life, but not sure if it was a scrub that went wrong there or if he just overjumped. So at the expense of Paulin and DeSalle, all of a sudden Clonus is up in 4th and goes from bad to worse. Paulin picks himself up, loses the front as he gets going again. Wonder if he's got a front brake issue there, because that looked like he locked the front tyre. Watch this here. We'll see as he pulls away. Now it's just so wet, and yeah, he's got no control over that bike at all. Look, thing is not going anywhere. I wonder if he's rang his bell in all of that, because he picked himself up, went down, picked himself up and steered left into the bank, but difficult place to fall there as well. It's actually quite steep up there. So Geiser leads, Clonus now 2nd, Fevre is 3rd, Herlings is 4th, Jonas 5th, Seawer 6th, Koldenhoff here on the standing construct KTM, the 259 is in 7th, DeSalle, the 25 is in 8th place. Then we have Julian Lieber, the 33 is in 9th, and then Benoit Paturel, number 6 on the Gavin Van Venrooy Kawasaki is in 10. Ivo Monticelli, the 2nd of the standing construct boys, is next. Then Jasikonis for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. His teammate, Louis Roster's taken a run down there to see on the progress of his boy. In actually fact, he's already up and running, Gauthier Paulin. So Paturel 10, Monticelli 11, Jasikonis in 12th place. 13 is Anstey, 14 Tixier VHR KTM, 15 is Kai Rowley, and then Strybos, Bogas, Van Horbik for Honda, SR Motor Blues. Then 19th, Severylikov, and Artem Guryov is in the points in 20th position, but Lupino out of the points, Leok out of the points, Petrov, Paulin, Bobryshev down on the first lap. Lap 4, and this is where Paulin crashed, somewhere down here in these dips. So Geiser leads 3.3 seconds. He is in the driving seat in this championship right now. He is on 3.26, Kai Rowley on 3.17. We are going to see a new championship leader's red plate if things stay as they are. Here's Gauthier Paulin just limping back. That's going to be a big crash through there as well, where he fell. Right, Kai Rowley going after Tixier. Tixier was good in qualifying yesterday, came home in 8th place. This is going to be a real championship performance now from Kai Rowley. He has to dig in and forget everything that's going on around him, try and breathe and regroup and just be patient and pick off the guys ahead of him just to limit the damage that's being done here, because Geiser up front is going to be picking up 25 points. Kai Rowley in 15th, he's only going to be picking up 6 points. But Geiser with little spillings on the rear wheel and stuff like that in that particular part of the track just needs to be careful. But no doubt about what is happening here at the moment with HRC and Geiser. They seem to be back to be winning ways. And if you watch the studio show that we recorded yesterday with Giacomo Garibaldi, then you'll see exactly what, they've obviously got front end issues, trying to get him out. They know that he could probably still score points here if other riders drop out, but Gauthier Paulin, he was down, he was hurt, he picked himself up, couldn't quite get going as quickly as he wanted to. Geiser is in complete control at the moment in this MXGP first race, the Patron MXGP of Russia. Here at Orléans, we've got 19.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go, or thereabouts. And he has a 3.5 second advantage over the Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha of Arno Clonus. So Clonus just behind the Honda here of Geiser. But Otto Clonus didn't have a great start yesterday, but look at this going on here. Hurlings on the ropes. His former MX2 teammate, Paul Jonas, just behind him on the number 41, Rockstar Energy Hispana in his rookie season, and there's 4 more riders there as well. So we've got Hurlings in 4th, Jonas 5th, Siwa 6th, Koldenhoff 7th, DeSalle 8th. So, yeah, look at that. Front wheel is definitely out of line. Forks are all out of line. He will be pushing it back to the paddock, no doubt. So disappointment then for Jorge Prado. He was 10 points ahead of DeSalle, 28 points clear of Otto Clonus. That means DeSalle will go back to 3rd in the championship by 3 points. And you see him just in the background, just at the back of this train here. The 5th rider in this particular shot. But it's Hurlings just trying to race himself back into fitness, of course. 2 races he's had since his return to riding a bike 2 weeks ago. One of those was a Dutch Championship round at Rennen. The other one, that was on Thursday, a week ago. And then last Sunday, an ADAC round in Austria. 3rd at one, 2nd in the other. And obviously, probably not the easiest place to come to here. It's hard packed, it's fast. And if you're going to get arm pump here or anywhere, it's going to be around here. So he just needs to manage that situation. And as he said, just ride himself back into fitness, race himself back into fitness. But he's going to be getting caught and passed here if he's not careful. The first man to launch an attack will be the 41 of Jonas. And then the Monster Energy Yamaha of 91, Siwa. Then Koldenhoff on the standing construct KTM. The Monster Energy Kawasaki of DeSalle. He'll be kicking himself because he was in 2nd position. That was going to be 22 points as he chased the 243 of Tim Geiser. DeSalle now sitting on 13 points. That's where DeSalle fell in that turn on lap 4. At the same time, Prado went out. But good to see Red Bull KTM having the full strength of riders here this weekend, because you've got Prado in MX2 and of course Tony Cairoli, and then Vial and Hurlings in the other Red Bull camp. Cairoli languishing in 15th position. Very un-Cairoli-like. Not able to find his way through, and that is costly for the 9-time champ. So 8 laps complete. Geiser now 2.4 seconds clear of Otto Clonus. Clonus setting his fastest lap of the race, a 1:37.9. That was half a second quicker than Geiser. So he's pulled that gap to back to within half a second. And he'll see Geiser at the top of the hill, and he'll say, you know what? 16 minutes to go. Why can't I go for the win? Fevre, 5 seconds behind in 3rd. He set the fastest first sector on this particular lap. And Lupino, he's down as well. So Alessandro Lupino lies motionless in the track. Not sure if there was another rider involved, it looked like there. Not sure where on the track that is, but the 77 of... that's over just here, look, down in the... just at the end of the waves, through the next left-hander. Lupino down for the 2nd time this weekend. And that does not look good for the Geben van Venrooy Kawasaki rider. Wow, so some... one or two casualties in this first MXGP race. But anyway, Lisa Leyland is down in pit lane with more information on Jorge Prado.
So we just saw an unfortunate end to the first race for Jorge Prado. I just had a quick word with his team. They realised that they will be well out of the points. There wouldn't be enough time for him to make up the points, and their bike is totally bent. They tried to kick it in place and it just wasn't budging at all. But the positive news is Jorge Prado is okay and he will be lining up for the 2nd race.
Wonder if we can get a check on Alessandro Lupino as well, because obviously down off the track at the moment, just opposite where these guys are. But there's DeSalle. It looks like he's found his way past Koldenhoff for 7th position. So all of a sudden then, getting a little bit of drive from DeSalle. But Hurling still holding these guys at bay. on the number 84 Red Bull KTM. He's in 4th place, top of the hill now. Then we've got Jonas and Siwa. Siwa looking to make a move on the Monster Energy Yamaha around the outside of the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of the number 41 of Jonas. Jonas really starting to grow in confidence now. That 5-week break that we had between Mantova and Trentino definitely did him a lot of favours. Was able to maintain the training, but we've still got Wave medical flags just around this left-hander here. But this is DeSalle on Koldenhoff. Oh, Koldenhoff spun out, sideswiped the side of the Kawasaki, but DeSalle did go through, and he is now in 7th place. Right, Siwa still going after the 41 of Jonas. Where's his teammate Jasikonis? He's in 12th place on the second of the Husqvarnas. A lap ago then, that's where DeSalle passed Koldenhoff as he looks to continue his charge towards the top 5 if he can. Down past pit lane. If you're just joining us, 12.5 minutes plus 2 to go or thereabouts. Geiser leads MXGP Race 1 here at the Patron MXGP of Russia at the circuit of Orlenok. Otto Clonus is second on the Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha. Third is Roman Fevre on the official factory Yamaha Monster Energy machine. Hurlings is 4th. The lead Red Bull KTM rider. Jonas is 5th. The Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Jeremy Siwa is 6th. 7th is Clement DeSalle on the Monster Energy Kawasaki. Koldenhoff, the standing construct KTM, is 8th. 9th is Julian Lieber. Benoit Paturel. Gavin Van Venrooy is in 10th. Ivo Monticelli is 11th. Jasicone is 12th. Anstey 13th. VHR KTM of Tixier is 14th. Tony Cairoli is only in 15th place. Didn't make a great start, and he's been struggling ever since. Kevin Strybos for JWR Yamaha is next in 16th place. Lieber has just found his way past Koldenhoff. There you see in the background. So the two Kawasaki's are parked together, but this is the battle for the lead. The 243 and the number 4 of Geiser and Clonus. Clonus was just over 2 seconds behind Geiser at the end of lap 10. This is lap 11. The gap between them now is 2.6, but Geiser sets the fastest lap of the race, a 37.6 compared to a 38.2. But Clonus still not giving an inch. Believes he can probably still win this race. I think that's where Paulin crashed, that first one in the background, when he went down. Strybos 16, Van Horbik 17, Bogus, Severbrilikov and Tenor Leok, they top 20. Petrov is just outside of the points at 21st. Geny Mikhailov is 22nd. Artem Guriev. Lupino we lost a couple of laps ago. He was receiving medical treatment at the side of the track. Paulin crashed on lap 4, and his bike too battered and bent to rejoin, but he is okay. Bobryshev went out on lap 1, and we saw him taking his boot off just on this point of the racetrack here, and he too was assisted medically. So hopefully all guys are okay as Siwa gets the drive down and carves his way up the inside of the 41 of Paul's Jonas. DeSalle looking intent as well. Number 25. Oh, a couple of short jumps for the 41 of Jonas, but DeSalle tries to go around the outside. They, I'm sure, touched rubber as they came out of that right-hand turn at the bottom of the hill there. Jonas and DeSalle. Jonas looking to cover every inch of the racetrack. Watch this. Definitely would have been a love tap through there. Right, launching downhill. DeSalle struggling with the tear-offs there. Didn't go at the first pull. Hurling's doing a fantastic job of just hanging on to 4th position, but he's still got 10 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Are we going to see him just open the floodgates here and see Siwa, Jonas, DeSalle, those guys go steaming on through, or is it going to be typical bullish behaviour from the defending champion, where he'll put everything into at least one good moto and worry about the second moto when it happens? Gap still 1.6 between the first two. 39.01 and 38.01, so yeah, 1.6, the gap coming down between Geiser and Clonus. Wow, late charge here then for Otto Clonus. Geiser has been comfortable, leading the way here. Just a bit of a panic rev as he drops off that little ledge. We know that he has great fitness. Tim Geiser, and we know that Otto Clonus is back to full strength as well. Back-to-back podiums and really enjoying his racing in MXGP again. Otto Clonus missed all of last year, of course, because of shoulder surgery. But he has Geiser right in his line of sight. That gap's still going to be about 2 seconds, I would think. 2.1. So again, these two just flip-flopping. There's Kai Rowley. He's still in 15th. He's got Jordi Tixier just ahead of him there. VHR KTM. Taking a helpless look further up the track because Kai Rowley is a eternity off of the lead at the moment. Just looks like he's going through the motions. And no Claudio Di Carli here this weekend. And I wonder if that also has something to do with it. Maybe his thoughts are elsewhere. I don't know. But you just never know. Maybe he's just carrying one or two more little injuries yesterday that no one has really let on about. It was winded, was the official confirmation I had from David Di Carli this morning when I walked past their KTM pit. But 15th place, Geiser will be leading the championship by, well, he'll be on 3:26, and Kai Rowley will be on 3:17. So it'll be 9 points. First and second. Little bit of a gap. 10 seconds back to Romain Febvre. Your qualifying race winner yesterday. He said actually in the post-race qualifying interview with Lisa that he was still feeling a little bit sick, not able to train, but he felt good yesterday with that qualifying win. But obviously today is another day. Wasn't sure how he was going to perform, but he made a good start. He pulled the foxhole shot. He's looking behind. He knows that Herlings is not really a threat today, 10 seconds behind and not fit at all. So he can just coast, maybe save some energy actually for the second race. But Jeremy Seward can't afford himself that kind of luxury. Number 91 here, doing his best to fend off the challenge of number 25, Clément de Sale, in 6th place. De Sale want to try and get by him as quickly as possible. Easier said than done, though, around this high-speed racetrack. Not the easiest place to overtake on, but there are 1 or 2 spots in which you can just get drive and force your way down the inside. There's Jonas and Lieber, 7th and 8th. Koldenhoff just behind him in 9th place. And then Paturel in 10th position. So Benoit Paturel, 20th in the championship. Missed in the first 3 rounds. Best finish this year so far has been an 8th in race 2. And that was in Mantova at Lombardia. Right, De Sale looking to charge down the inside. And that's what I was talking about a moment ago. There are 1 or 2 lines on this racetrack, and Seward almost got spooked there. He ran it too wide going up the hill. Didn't get clean drive. And all of a sudden, Clément de Sale now up into 5th place. And right ahead of him is number 84, Jeffrey Herlings. I think the 84 will be pleased with his performance in this one. He'll be frustrated as hell underneath that helmet, though. But doing a good job of just being up at the sharp end. First real race back, shall we say. So Geiser leads, Clonus 2nd, Febvre 3rd, Herlings 4th, De Sale now 5th, Seward down to 6th, Julian Lieber's up to 7th. He's just passed, there you see in the background, he's found his way past Jonas. So Jonas now in 8th place with just under 5 minutes plus 2 to go. 15 laps complete, and the gap between Geiser and Clonus is 1.6 seconds. Febvre about 14 seconds further back, but we're going to keep an eye on this little battle here, which involves the 84 there of Jeffrey Herlings, the 25 of Clément de Sale. They're fighting over 4th position. De Sale was in 2nd until lap 4 when he made a mistake from 2nd, picked himself up in 9th. So he's had to put a lot of effort in just to get back up to this point, or this position in the race. Siwa just losing a little bit of ground in the background there on that number 91 Yamaha. He's in 6th position. Hot, humid day here in Russia. Cairoli now up into 14th place. He's got Max Anstey directly ahead of him. They were about, what, 1.6 seconds apart when they hit the line at the end of lap 15. So Cairoli would try to be looking at picking up another point if he can, just to minimise that gap. But it will be Geiser, the new championship leader, as we head into race 2, if they were to put the flag out now. Dessau trying to use every ounce of track. Oh, nice tidy line there, staying off the polished, slick surfaces. Going for traction, the darker coloured ground there, just through that little right-left combination. Wonder how much of a fight the KTM will put up here as the Kawasaki looks to move either outside or inside. Well, soon find out. Hey, what, the roost heading up this hill is an absolute nightmare for the riders. Just stones and chalk just flying up right to the face if you're behind. But again, 3 minutes plus 2 to go. We're showing just a typical performance here from the defending champ, not wanting to give up positions easily, not wanting to give anything away psychologically as well, I would imagine, to his rivals. Remember the last time when he missed the beginning of 2017, he had that hand injury and was good for nobody for the first few races. Then they started making a few changes, got some time on the bike and everything clicked. But last year was a completely different story. 17 Grand Prix wins out of the 19. But Commander Sal clearly feeling at home here on his Monster Energy Kawasaki. 2 Grand Prix wins here for the Belgian. He had a win and a second last year. So obviously feels good on this kind of hard, slick surface, wet or dry. Again, cuts across to the outside there and then to the inside here. Not going to be able to make the pass there, but it's just good drive. More of a safety line than anything else for the 25 there. Tries to again cut back to the inside. He'll take the safer option through here as well. Oh, back end just gets a little bit out of shape. Anstey now up into 12th at the expense of his teammate Monticelli. So the 2 standing contract KTMs, 12th and 13th. Cairoli just 1 or 2 seconds behind both of those. So can the Italian get himself up into 12th or 13th before the end of the race? Here he is. We'll see the gap just ahead of him as he looks to go past pit lane now. There's Anstey, Monticelli, the 128, and then Cairoli. And then just behind Cairoli, we have Strybos on the JWR Yamaha. Oh, in fact, Tixier is there. So where's Strybos? Just behind in the background, probably. Right, here's Cairoli. This has been a long, painful ride for the 9-time champ and championship leader. Before we came here, he had 10 points over Tim Geiser before the gate dropped. He had a big qualifying race crash yesterday, but everything was all okay. Right, 3 laps to go, because 20 seconds on the clock, 18 seconds on the clock as Geiser goes through this time around at the end of lap 18. He has a nice gap, 1.9 seconds over Otto Clonus. There he is, the Swiss keeping the Slovenian honest. Dessau still not able to find a way through on the number 84 of Hurlings. Cuts to the inside this time, realised he might have lost a little bit of ground last time around. Looking to open up the racetrack here, cuts back to the inside, gets on the power nice and early. Good drive from the Kawasaki, and he switches it to the outside here, stays out of the roost as much as possible. Oh! Dessau! That is a big crash for the Belgian. Dessau, he hit a bump at the end of the straight. He was freewheeling at about 100 miles an hour, and then he hit the next hole and took off. and slammed himself into the bank. That is another big crash for one of our top riders here. DeSalle down. The high-speed racetrack catching a more than its fair share of riders out this weekend here in Russia. Maybe the conditions, hot and dry, the track not able to just rough up like it has done over the years, but DeSalle, oh, I tell you what, that was huge. Cairoli, meanwhile, alongside Ivo Monticelli. He'll pick up a position as a result of that misfortune from DeSalle. DeSalle was looking good in 5th as well. Cairoli looks to go wide, and then up the inside of Monticelli, forces the issue and finds a way past his fellow Italian. He will now move up into, I would say, 13th position. I'm not sure I want to, yeah, this is a replay of Cairoli on Monticelli. But see Tixier there in the background. 2-lap board is out. Geiser 1.5 seconds clear, 1.4 seconds clear of Otto Clonus. And DeSalle is still down, and I'm not surprised. He hit that thing on his front wheel. There'll be some concerned faces down there in Kawasaki. Wow. DeSalle's race comes to a shuddering halt then. And hopefully he is okay. They don't want to move in unless it's absolutely necessary, of course. But we have waved medical flags. But meanwhile, Geiser is closing in. Is being closed in by Otto Clonus as we get ready to enter the final lap here. 1.4 the gap it was as these two hit the line last time around. A little bit less than that this time around, but they're going to have to be off the gas as they reach the end of this straight here because of the fallen and stricken number 25, Clément DeSalle, past the scene of the crash. So we lost Bobryshev on lap 1, Paulin on lap 4, Lupino a little later on in the race, and now DeSalle with just a couple of laps to go. Can Geiser hang on here, or will Otto Clonus pick up the race win? Clonus 7th in the championship before we came here. 4 third-place finishes in the last 4 races, 2 podiums overall. Romain Febvre out on his own in 3rd. He has a nice, comfortable advantage over Jeffrey Hurlings, who still hangs on to that 4th place. But Sewa would have been right behind Clément DeSalle as he went down. And I just wonder whether he's just going to back off the pace and just take the safety option and just go to bring it home here towards the end of this first race here in MXGP. Tim Geiser has done everything right, though. It was Romain Febvre who took the foxhole shot at the start of the race. He quickly stole the march, so before they hit the line, and Tim Geiser, Team HRC, is on course here for picking up what would be his 8th race win of the season. One more than Tony Cairoli. They both won 7 races coming in this weekend, but Tim Geiser will round out the final turn. He'll take the checkered flag and he'll win race 1 here at the Patron MXGP of Russia. Otto Clonus will come home in 2nd for Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha, and 3rd for Romain Febvre for the Monster Energy Yamaha squad. But there'll be a lot of talking points in between the 1st and 2nd race. And there'll be a few discussions going on, I would think. But anyway, Geiser, Clonus and Febvre, your top 3. We wait for Hurlings. He comes through now. 30 seconds off the lead, 37 seconds off the lead in 4th. Sewa 5th, Lieber over the line 6th, Jonas 7, Koldenhoff 8th. Jasikonis will be 9th. 10th for Anstey, Patro 11, Cairoli in 12th. The gap now shifts. Geiser, your new championship leader, on 3:26, Cairoli on 3:20. Here is your new championship leader and 8-time race winner, Tim Geiser.
Congratulations, 8th race win of the season, but more importantly, you've just taken the championship lead.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I mean, like, I was enjoying a lot on the track. It's quite hot out there, but anyway, I had a good start and then riding well. Arno was riding great. I mean, like, he was behind me all the race, and just want to say huge thanks to everybody around me, and hopefully we can do the same in the second one.
Good luck for the second race.
Tim Geiser then takes his 8th race win of the season aboard that Team HRC Honda of his. Put himself in the driving seat right from the very first opportunity. Closed down the door on Romain Febvre as he ran down towards the finish line, and Geiser led every single one of the 21 laps on offer here, and he is the new championship leader as we head to MXGP Race 2 a little later on this afternoon. Let's give you the official confirmation then. The Patron MXGP of Russia, MXGP Race 1 here at Willenhall. Tim Geiser wins it from just over 2 seconds from Otto Clonus. Romain Febvre 3rd, Jeffrey Hurling's back this weekend in 4th, Jeremy Seaworth 5th, Julian Lieber 6th, Paul Jonas 7th, Glenn Coldenhoff 8th, Arminas Jasikonis 9th, and Max Anstey picking up 10th. Benoit Paturel just edged out Tony Cairoli, who was just on struggle street for that first race. Jordi Tixier 13th, Strybos found his way past Monticelli on the final lap to get 14th. Van Horbeke was 16, Bogus 17, Tanor Leok, Seba Brilikov and Petar Petrov, North Europe Racing. KTM was 20th. Championship looks like this. Geiser now will be leading the championship. Of course, Cairoli maintains that championship leader's red plate as it stands right now. We won't do that on the graphics until the end of the day, but we do have a new championship leader going into race 2. Geiser leads, Cairoli 2nd, Paulin is 3rd, and Paulin maintains his gap over DeSalle, who of course we hope is okay, but that was a hard fall for the Belgian. Jasikonis 5th in the championship. Seba Brilikov there just accepting the plaudits from his fans. But let's take a look at those highlights then from MXGP Race 1. Went a little bit like this, look. The gate drops. Romain Febvre from the centre of the gate pretty much grabbed his 2nd foxhole shot of the year, but as he struggled for traction on the way out, Geiser just got the march. And by the time they hit that first jump, Febvre was back to 3rd, DeSalle was up to 2nd, and Clonus also found his way past the 461. Bobryshev fell at the top of the hill here on the opening lap. There, over the bars, and slammed himself into the ground. And then he would need medical attention. Then Gauthier Paulin also crashed out heavily. And then DeSalle on lap 4, the same lap that Paulin went out. Paulin came in, but wasn't able to continue. The front of that bike was just so obliterated, he had to park it and call it a day. Jeffrey Hurlings, though, was running in at the sharp end in 4th position, and DeSalle was starting his fight back through the field. Made that move on Coldenhoff to get himself into 7th. At the same time, Jeremy Seaworth found his way into 5th place. Cairoli was struggling though. For a long time of the race, he was in 16th. DeSalle finally got into 5th on lap 15 of 20. Or 21, I should say. Jeffrey Hurlings was doing a good job, but then this was the crash that took out Clément DeSalle. That was a scary, scary crash, and still no idea on the outcome of that. Tony Cairoli picked off the 128 of Monticelli on the final lap, but Arno Clonus couldn't quite close down the gap despite his efforts. And in the end, it was Tim Geiser who cruised to the win in control. 2.7 seconds a gap between him and Clonus. Febvre was 3rd. Take a look at the foxhole shot, shall we? Just Romain Febvre from Tim Geiser. Not much in it though. 2nd one on the board for Romain Febvre this year. Back to back, in fact. Race 2 in France at Saint-Jean-d'Angely 2 weeks ago. He jumps to 2nd because it goes on the last result. So Cairoli on 8, Febvre on 2, Clonus on 2, Lieber on 2, Geiser on 1. Wow. What a first race we had here in MXGP Race 1 at the Patron MXGP of Russia here at All In Lock. Let's check out some of the best moments, shall we? So some of the best moments then from MXGP Race 1 here at the Patron MXGP of Russia here at All In Lock. We'll take a break for just over an hour or so. When we return, it will be for the conclusion part of this 8th round of the FIA Motocross World Championship. MX2 Race 2, MXGP Race 2 still to come. We'll see you a little later on. Bye for now.